As has been developing over the past few years, Konami has released quite a few dud sets that just sit rotting on store shelves. Oftentimes, a side set and even main sets will go to end up massively on sale and still not sell. Deck build packs, even after getting wave after wave of new support and having 3 viable archetypes, will still lose money. Legendary Duelist packs have been released less and less frequently due to a long string of failures. The Megatins for the past 3 years have been in shambles, still remaining well stocked in stores 3 years later. Oftentimes main sets aren't even safe with some absolute bombs like Duelist Nexus and Cyberstorm Axis. Even the much hyped Rarity Collection 2, following the best-selling set of last year, while still doing well, isn't living up to expectations. Players just don't want Yu-Gi-Oh products. This is in stark contrast to every other card game, which has been able to give value to its players through some means, be it amazing collector's options, high monetary value, draft, or just a solid collection of quality playable cards. This in turn ensures boxes are actually wanted and therefore sold. Without that, products underperform and stores have to eat those losses. While a big box retailer like Walmart and Target will be fine, a local game store might start to go under. In fact, many game stores have been dropping Yu-Gi-Oh to avoid this. I feel like as a product and TCG designer, you owe it to local game stores and to the players to provide the best quality product possible, while still making a solid profit for yourself, of course. Local game stores and players support you, so you should support them. Modern Yu-Gi-Oh products are dated to archaic product models, bloated with endless filler, and are actively predatory to players in the local game stores who are stuck buying garbage. So, let's fix them. While there's a lot wrong with Konami's products, I'll break it down into 3 main sections. First and foremost, Yu-Gi-Oh boxes have almost no financial value. The odds and pull rates on boxes are terrible. Regardless of the set, you are almost guaranteed to lose money on opening product. Even buying an entire case will net you a loss. Here's an old breakdown I did of a case opening of Age of Overlord, which was one of the best sets of last year. In a vacuum, you'd barely make a slight profit doing an opening. Factor in shipping, credit card fees, TCG player cuts, or time spent opening and sorting product, and you're expected to take a loss. When redesigning sets, we don't always have to give a player equal financial value on the secondary market, but products shouldn't be complete negs for anyone looking to buy it. Those products with low financial value should offer something solid in playability, like with structure decks, or in collectability, like the OCG Numbers collection, but most preferably in all 3 like with Rarity Collection. Let's explain playability. Right now, if you're a player, the scarce odds of pulling good cards means you can't even pull enough to build a deck, or even trade for your deck. You don't get enough of any cards to mechanically build anything out of the box. Since key cards are so restricted to higher rarities, you get way less than needed. I'll use the common example of it takes about $600 in deck build boxes to get a complete core for any archetype. Other card games give you more, or have other ways to play the game, like with Draft and Magic. We should strive to give mostly playable cores, or enough to trade for a playable core, for around $100 to $200 for a competitively focused product, which is much lower than the expected $600 to $1,000 for some sets and products. For casual models, we just need to give players something to be satisfied with. This means enough cards to build something, or maybe this could mean making the opening experience itself better. Lastly, Yu-Gi-Oh sets have massive issues with being absurdly disparate. If you open a main set, there's likely to be support for upwards of 30 disparate different strategies and playstyles. For main sets and Megatins, this is fine since they're bringing the entire game forward or reprinting a whole year. But for side sets, this absolutely kills what should be tight and targeted products. Side sets should seek to have contained themes that are playable from those side sets. Other games have products that feel like the cards were actually designed to work with each other. Following that, giving a bit more unity to our releases would go a long way to help players feel like they're getting more value, since they're more likely to actually get a set of cards that they can build a deck from with the product. And marketing-wise, it would help find an audience that's not just vendors for some of Yu-Gi-Oh's more wacky sets. Oh yeah, before I continue, I want to mention that a lot of the images of set lists were taken from Duel Daddy before I edited them. I recommend you follow him on Twitter and Instagram if you like set spoilers and some helpful Yu-Gi-Oh tips. Coming from me, I'll say they're very well made graphics.
Are you ready to run it back? You can check out dozens of sweet new monster spells and traps, including cards you've only seen on TV or in the comics. But now they're real cards you can add to your deck. Teach your opponents a lesson they'll never forget. Battles of Legend, Terminal Revenge. 5 foil cards per pack, each pack sold separately.
Let's start with a generally good set, Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge. An all-foil set focused on reprints, OCG imports, and most importantly releasing new support for 4 fan-favorite archetypes from Duel Terminal. The support is meh or weak competitively, but they're certainly perfect for bringing those archetypes into the modern game. The MSRP is for about $80 a box. The reprints are good, the imports are cool or very hit or miss, and there's some interesting collector's chase cards. But there's some pain points I want to highlight that keeps this product from being amazing. The main issue comes from being unable to build these archetypes from this set with this set. Of course, this isn't an expected thing from an average Yu-Gi-Oh set, but since the marketing is around these 4 archetypes and making them playable, I'd like it to where these decks don't require a player to pull cards from 2014 and earlier to play these decks. Look at what's missing from the Ritual Beast portion of this set, it's not even close. These aren't expensive cards, but they should be made available. We don't want players just to buy singles and skip the entire box. And before I forget to mention, rest assured, the Gen X list is way worse, but mostly from filling up the missing but bad section. For an experienced player, this incomplete set can be rough since they're not likely to have everything. We can't just be targeting the set at all 4 of the old Gen X players, can we? Plus, if we have a product with 4 self-contained archetypes, we can market this set to newer players as a pick a deck and build from there. I know these aren't the best new player picks, but nothing in Yu-Gi-Oh really is if I'm being honest. So letting new players fall in love with these decks' uniqueness is honestly the best we can do. So I'd change the set list to replace the incomplete branded engine with more Duel Terminal archetypal cards. Branded has no purpose being in here as these cards don't need reprints. These cards completely clash with the rest of the set and are just not a complete archetype, unlike Sprites, which are a self-contained reprint engine. Just move Despia to the Megatens. I'd set the rarities to these old reprints to be different from their old printings to ensure the older ones still have some value. For a Ritual Beast example, this would mean doing the Tamers at Ultra Rare and the Beast as secret rares, the opposite of how they were printed in the old days. You could also give some of those old reprints that 25th rarity treatment. I think we would have to expand this set's size a bit to accommodate this, but we could cut some of the original arts for cards, getting 2 arts in this set. This would also help strengthen the collector's value on some of those old cards. From a marketing and player perspective, this is the best change to make. It would just help the set have a much more complete selling point. We do have to keep the bad miscellaneous imports in this set, since the set fills a mechanical function of making sure the TCG gets these cards, so we do have to take Sengenjin alongside Phantom of Yubel. It is what it is. The reprints, for the most part, are very good. They serve as some extra engine and staple pieces that benefit every type of player, either for future decks they want to build, or perhaps for trade. Now, for the issue that bugs me the most personally, it is the absurdly high rarity locked OCG import of Dragon Master Magia. Alongside the 2 collector's alt arts of Sky Strikers is a 3rd quarter century rare locked card of Dragon Master Magia. This card isn't competitively viable, but it is popular as a casual option and in testing for a few jank rogue decks. Locking it to an absurdly hard to pull collector's rarity puts it out of the reach of most of the player base and even out of the reach of a lot of collectors. At the time of writing the script, it has sold in pre-orders for about $600. This is terrible on casual players who can't afford this anyway. This is neutral at best for collectors who already have chase cards in the set to go for, and would still have a chase card if this card was also a secret rare. And this is terrible for the general public relations for Konami. I like this set, but I honestly feel like I can't recommend it because of this. Like, imagine if they did this for a meta staple card, or really any card that was just somewhat better. You want Bonfire? Sorry, it's QCR only. Buying this set as is only encourages Konami to do it again in the future. So yeah, just add a secret rare printing of this card to the set and it's fine. Next up, Konami needs to lower the price on boxes. I'd say to about $65 from the intended $80 MSRP. We have to go lower in order to ensure that as many people as possible can and want to open this product. And to the random commenter from last video, no, we are not targeting random 70-year-olds. We're drawing in a larger market share of our 20 to 35-year-old male target demographic, most of which don't have the money to drop $80 on boxes that gets them absolutely nothing. Also, an increase in sales is an increase in demand. Also, we do have context for the production price of Yu-Gi-Oh products, because there are 2 bits of known info for my $65 number. First, Konami sells similar sets in the OCG for about $30 to $40 a box. They're slightly smaller, but it's clear we're being greatly overcharged in the TCG. Second, the price to print a regular box is roughly around $20. I'm not pulling this out of my ass. I have some knowledge in printing myself, and talked with some, albeit smaller printers, for rough estimates on what it costs to print a box of Yu-Gi-Oh! Really, shipping it is most of the issue for the price in the TCG, especially with distributors taking a massive cut. And then, plus with the set being all foil, it does cost more to print. So I settled on a price of around $65. Still a healthy enough price to profit on its own, but we will more than make up for the loss with an increased volume in sales. Lastly, Konami needs not to short print any cards for this set. As of right now, I don't know if they have or not for this particular set, but it's a very common trend for this type of side set and for the Megatons as well. In order to fix Konami's terrible reputation with the players and with local game stores, Konami needs to start a long march of non-short printed and quality products. It's not going to be an easy or overnight thing, but it's a much needed start. Don't short print anything ever again. Look, we need as much encouragement as possible for people to buy these sets, so we'll give them enough value that it's worth opening it. Even if it's not there financially, let's give them 4 complete archetypes to work with and build from. So imagine this, you and a friend both buy 2 $65 boxes and get to build and trade decks from the set. If we could scale that up, we could do more to spread good word of mouth than the last $500,000 Konami spent on marketing. Let's put as many people and locals playing these decks as possible. It then lets us sell them on buying more staples in our rarity collection, / other side sets, or even from the local game store. If they do want to try something else, we can then direct them to our other big sets or our structure decks. Every set should be as good as possible, because every set sells every other set. Do we want to promise people garbage, or do we want to promise people fun? It's that goodwill and expected value that lets Yu-Gi-Oh! Stay profitable as a business. As it is now, Yu-Gi-Oh's expected value in the TCG comes only from the needed competitive cards that carry a set. It's not sustainable, and it bleeds stores and players dry. In order to grow, we need to build goodwill elsewhere. So, a bit of an update here. I now have information regarding the release of Terminal Revenge that wasn't available at the time of writing, and, well, it's just about one of the worst products Konami has ever released. It was already discounted by stores before it released. The best cards are absurdly short printed. I saw a friend open 8 boxes and pull 1 Diviner of Herald, 2 Sprite Blue, and 2 Cartesio, despite having a mountain of Toy Engine and bulk normal fusions. It was physically painful to watch that opening. For the sake of marketing these boxes, the reprints are practically non-existent. The short printing is to such a degree, I would say it's blatantly illegal and false advertising. Konami is clearly implying that cards of the same rarity would have an equal chance of being pulled, despite having a fake pseudo-rarity in short prints. To misrepresent the odds of receiving items is a crime for gacha games, it's a crime for the lottery, and I think certainly a crime here. Even outside of short prints, the 1 secret rare per pack is absurdly scuffed. I thought it was a bit better than it actually was. The friend I saw opening boxes didn't even pull a complete playset of the Infernoid cards, and only just pulled a single playset of the Ritual Beast engine. He did get 2 Phantom of Yubel though, which I'm told is really good for this set. Completely unacceptable. No one should have to spend over $600 to not get a playset of a set. And no, the QCRs did not make up for the loss. Do not buy this product, it isn't for anyone. And I'm even mixed on buying singles. On one hand, it's better if you're gonna buy the cards, it's what you should do, but I think we might have to have the resellers take L after L. It might be the only way to really kill Konami's profits. Because at this point in time, resellers are a pretty big part of Konami's sales strategy. They'll buy the products the average consumer won't. Also, Ritual Beast Tamer Elder is $25. I think we live in hell. They don't even profit off this, they just hate you. I guess for the sake of this video being about fixing things, I'll say that if Konami wants to make a better product, they need to go back to the old method of 2 secret rares and 3 ultras per pack. Do not short print things, and lower prices without the set having to bomb first, and actually reprint old engines. There is some good news though. This set's garbage has given me a great opportunity to do a massive study on the variety of pull rates in boxes between the average consumer and products sent to streamers. I'm choosing my words very carefully here, because as it is right now, the study and in-depth analysis hasn't been done yet, so I can't really say either way. But the evidence I do have looks as if it's a topic that necessitates a study, either to expose a difference or to end the rumors around the topic. I will inform you of the results either way, but I'm excited to finally have a reason to put that master's degree I'm going for into use. But here's the reason I'm mentioning this here. It's just a way to reach out for more information. I'm trying to get a large sample of pool results. So if you're a reseller or just a business or someone who opens boxes, if you could send me your pool results, it would be massively helpful. Any recent set works because I'm going to be looking through more than just one. You can reach out to my YouTube email or my Discord, thank you. And if any streamer who does sponsored openings would like to tell me context about the openings that might not be available to public, please do reach out. The best way to avoid things being taken out of context and problems arising that don't need to arise is to air things out in the open. Again, thank you everyone, back to the video. This philosophy of refining sets around these smaller archetypes is good and should work for similar sets such as Maze of Millenia and other Battles of Legends. These are great set ideas, but they just need some refinement and a massive price drop. Maze of Millenia in particular needs to have better pull rates and a set structure similar to OCG deck builder packs. More on that in a bit though. But Maze is less of its own thing and more of a supplement or even catch-up pack for the main sets. It just needs to be sold as such. I as a player would love a $30 mini box with relevant and easy to pull reprint cards for themes getting new support. Throw in some miscellaneous extra stuff and a theme import, and you have some genuine fire. Just not for an $80 box with 4 ultra rares.
It's time to get your game on. Let's rev it up.
Cause I'm feeling the flow. What do you say we swing into action?
It's time to link into the brains.
A very key set that needs to be brought back up to its peak is the yearly Megatins. The Megatins should be a celebration of the previous year of Yu-Gi-Oh! By reprinting the previous year's greatest hits. But right now they feel lifeless and are certainly not worth buying. This set has the difficult prospect of targeting both a very casual audience at big box retailers and still being a hit for local game stores and for players getting access to expensive or missed staples. This set has absolutely bombed for the past few years. You can still find the 2021 and 2022 Megatins in stores at reduced prices. It's absolutely bonkers how much of an L these sets are. I'll break down the issues and how to solve them into a few key points. First up, because of how large the set size is, and because of the vast number of different secret rares you can pull from, the chance that each and every customer gets something they wanted from a box is almost zero. Competitive and educated players aren't stupid and know they're getting shafted, since even a case of this set is unlikely to give you proper ratios of key cards, or really even one copy of everything. Casual players don't get enough of anything out of a single box to be satisfied. The packs in this box are $7.50, which is technically premium pack prices, yet you get so little from them. Not only monetarily, but also in playability, which is huge. We can't shrink the size of these sets, since they're celebrations of the year before. I'd even argue that one of the reasons the 2023 Megatins sold poorly is because they cut out so many of that previous year's best themes. Offering players the chance to build and play everything from the main sets they haven't yet is really key for this set's selling point. On top of that, you do have to add in a few new options as well, so that 300-ish card set size kind of has to stay. Then what can we do to solve the difficulty of obtaining cards? You have 4 or so solutions to this issue. First, you could lower the price. Second, we can give an extra pack. Third, we can give more high rarity cards per pack. And fourth, we can lower the number of high rarity options in the set. I think that in order to make up for the insanely large set size and very limited opportunities to pull the sought after cards, all we really need to do is add in an additional ultra rare and prismatic slot for each pack. An extra pack just costs more to print, lowering the price doesn't make sense here, with the base cost to produce the tin itself, and reducing the high rarity pool hurts the set's rarity upgrade appeal. So, just offering more of the best cards from the set is the way to go. Make pack opening fun and more incentivized. This set already does such a number on lowering prices, it's not going to tank the market more. Just make the packs more worth opening for the average player. Let me defend my point some more. Look, in order to ensure each customer is happy, let's offer them the bare minimum to make them happy. Remember, we don't want this product rotting on store shelves years after they've been released, so we're going to give consumers more to ensure it's worth opening. Also, on this, never short print anything on this type of set. By short printing key cards, knowledgeable players would just know it's not worth it to open these. Short printing here just incentivizes low sales. Besides, if a card is good enough, it will just climb back up in price, so we can get value on reprinting it again. See literally every hand trap, Pot of Prosperity, and the Triple Tactics cards. The next big thing with these sets is the inclusion of promo cards. This sweetens the deal and lets us specifically push towards whatever market the promo is targeted at. For example, the 2023 Megatins primarily targeted casual players with more anime-centric promos, while the 2020 Megatins targeted competitive players with their brand new meta-relevant staple cards, Dark Ruler No More and Dimensional Shifter. These promos are what helped sell tins all the way back to the early 2000s, with the Dark Magician or Blue Eyes showing behind a tiny window. That makes some tins not having any promos or having garbage promos become inexcusable both towards the consumer and for general marketing practices. So, to solve this promo problem, I'd like to propose a rule for designing promos for this type of tin. We give each tin 3 promo slots: an anime or casual promo, such as a Millennium card or an anime alt art, a competitive promo, it could be a reprint or a key OCG import, and a third wildcard slot that changes each year. This could maybe be an OCG support card of a TCG exclusive archetype, this could be TCG exclusive new cards, or maybe this could be some special anime promos, but again, shaking it up here is key to attract the eyes of influencers. Also with this method, make it be a limited pool of cards to pull from, like 1 out of 2 or 3. This is the method that went on with the 2020 Megatins, and it really is just the best. There's a reason this year's tins are the last ones to really have sold well, even despite the events of 2020. The last thing to mention with reprint sets is the frequent banning of archetypes after reprints. From a product standpoint, there's really nothing that can be done about this. It comes first from Konami's design team, and second from Konami's terribly timed ban list from the balanced teams. But I'd say make the game cheaper so that banning cards isn't massively painful for players, and then don't design cards so terribly as to necessitate massive ban waves every year. But that really gets out of the scope of this video.
Your party awaits! You could put yourself into the action with an adventurer deck, battle fiends with Exo Sisters, or summon some wild and crazy monsters. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Grand Creators. 7 cards per pack, each pack sold separately.
Deck build packs are the smaller side sets based around 3 usually new individual archetypes. These, like Terminal Revenge discussed before, are mostly designed around these few key themes. However, deck build packs are much more tightly targeted. Unfortunately, these are the worst packs the TCG has to offer, and as they are now, I can never recommend buying them or even stocking them at your store. They will lose money, which is a shame because these should be some of the best packs for both new players and established players alike. The first issue comes from the bad pull rates and awful price points. For those of you who don't know, these are originally sold as $30 boxes in the OCG, but are stuffed with bad commons and are sold for $80 here. You only get about 3 to 4 ultra rares from these boxes. So I propose we do 3 things to fix this. We drop the price down to $40. Again, account for shipping in the West. We cut the number of cards per pack to save on printing cost and not give so much bulk filler. So instead of 7 commons, we'll give 5 or even 4. And lastly, we'll up the number of ultra rares per box from 3 to 4. But we'll keep the collector's rares at about the same rate of about 1 per every other box. What I want to do is to try and give people enough value from the set for about $100 to $150 in product. I feel like this is a reasonable price point for when we want to have the average player buying multiple boxes and actually building and playing these decks. And these sets are tiny. The boxes should reflect that and not be sold as full sets when they're not. All that does is harm stores and turn off customers. This fixes the monetary value issue from these sets entirely, and does wonders for the playable value of pulling this set. The second big issue comes from ensuring that these decks are actually complete on release. You see, a big issue in recent years with deck build packs is Konami moving major cards from these archetypes into main sets instead of releasing them alongside the initial release. This has always been a thing. For example, Necros of Gungear released in Secrets of Eternity and not in the Secret Forces. But for modern sets, it's not just extra support, it's almost exclusively the main drivers and enablers for each of these decks. For example, we'll be using the Amazing Defenders set since it has 3 of my favorite archetypes. Just know that Valiant Smashers, Wild Survivors, and Tactical Masters all did the same thing. For each of the 3 archetypes and Amazing Defenders, key cards were released later. Purrely, which was the best from the start, was missing Purrely and Sleepy Memory, 2 key cards for this deck's consistency and competitive viability. Mechanica was missing Mei or Shidori, a key extender, Li, who was absurdly important for making disruptions, providing protection, and just being another name, which the deck sorely needed. And lastly, the deck was missing Spirit Walk, one of the only disruptions it would make. Lastly, and most devastating, was Rescue Ace, who were missing Preventer, whose half of every combo the deck does, and Emergency, which is both the other half of those combos, and one of the deck's very limited number of starters and extenders. Every archetype from this deck build pack was missing 2 to 5 cards, most of which were really the decks themselves. So to invest in a deck build set, you have to gamble on if your deck is going to be good in the future, and hope you get that support on time, because there's every chance you're going to have to sit on an unplayable core for 6 to 9 months. This system ultimately harms deck build packs, and does very little to drive the main set sales with new support. People don't want deck build packs on release, since they're often terrible to buy, and a majority of the archetypes just aren't good on release. People don't want deck build packs later on, since they're old and likely to get reprinted before too long. The cards in main sets usually don't drive set sales near enough. Since the new cards are such a minor part of those boxes, people will just buy the singles. They couldn't save Cyberstorm Access or Duelist Nexus from being bombs. They can help sets a little bit, but they certainly don't carry them either. That's not to say we want to completely get rid of new support in future sets, but we need to tone down just how much there is. We know Konami usually designs sets and themes well in advance, so I propose we give the archetypes at least one more of their key cards in their original set. My pitch for Amazing Defenders would be to give Rescue Ace Emergency, Mechanica Li, and give Purrely from the start. We can cut filler like XYZ Reborn and overlay Rain from the set. We could also add these to the super rare pool to make it even stronger. This would significantly boost the power of these archetypes, would better smooth out the set list, and most importantly, would sell much better. And we'd still get enough future hype cards, but they'd be additional support and not the entire deck's playstyle. So to summarize this section, we'd be creating good sets at fair but profitable prices that players want to open and want to play.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Phantom Nightmare! Have you ever met my pal Yubel? You will soon! And you'll meet all kinds of far-out new monsters, too! There are goblin bikers, heroes of a doomed city, and even a dragon queen! Score sweet new cards for your favorite deck in Phantom Nightmare! 9 cards per pack, each pack sold separately.
Main sets. Main sets have always been the most painful Yu-Gi-Oh! Sets to see in the awful state they're in, because they're the front face of Yu-Gi-Oh! And have always been so much worse than the competition. Like, they even lose to themselves. So when it comes to fixing them, of course there is a correct answer here. It's just to adopt the OCG model head on. Let me explain what the OCG model of a box is. First, all boxes are smaller. While they have 30 packs per box, each pack only contains 5 cards. They're smaller sets, only being about 80 cards compared to the TCG's 100 cards. Outside of the less than half price comparison to the TCG, the kicker of this style set is the changed rarity system. No cards are printed at exclusively secret rare. All cards are instead available as ultra rares and lower, with the higher rarities being upgrades of those cards. There are also just more rarities in the OCG style packs, including ultimate rares and prismatic rares. In our TCG port of these cards, I'm okay with not having prismatic secret rares to save those for the megatins. We should, however, 100% bring back ultimate rares. The pull rates for these sets as a whole are similar enough, but the OCG boxes give an extra pack that's a guaranteed ultra rare from the set, which further encourages you to buy boxes. This whole system gives solid chase cards to customers without exclusively locking the best cards to high rarity. Collectors also get more from the OCG style of set, since they not only get more cards at high rarity, they also get more rarities letting them customize. This system also wouldn't make cards completely tank in value. Remember, in the TCG set Legacy of Destruction, the ultra rares and even a super rare are the most expensive cards in that set. If we increase the super and ultra rare pool slightly, I'd predict maybe about halving the prices of the average card, but more importantly, normalizing the best chase cards' price to a much more reasonable below $40, and more likely probably even $20 to $30. More in line with the OCG, but now with more higher value, higher rarity ults to attract pack openings. This TCG OCG style should retail for about $45 a box, slightly higher to account for Western distribution costs. But yeah, overall, these product changes make for a much better time. We'd sell more volume across the board, put more cards in people's hands, cut out more filler, and hopefully get more people playing the game more often. We'd also stop sending absolute garbage to stores, one product after another. I have no doubt in my mind that the previously bad products have bankrupted several stores, and we know for a fact that quite a few stores have stopped selling Yu-Gi-Oh! To prevent this. I think product changes like discussed in this video are needed to reverse course for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. But this is just one solution alongside many that needs to come for Yu-Gi-Oh! But it can be done. Yu-Gi-Oh! Can get better. Yu-Gi-Oh! Can become the #1 card game. Konami just needs to put in the work. I don't know if Konami will, but I'll keep saying how things could get better and calling out Konami until they do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Please subscribe, I guess.